Hello, this is Troy Eckard. I'm Chairman of the Board of Eckard Enterprises in Allen, Texas. We have a new president in office who is 100% behind fossil fuels in America. The problem is, for the last 4 to 10 years, every single advocate in the United States has been promoting anything but fossil fuels. Today, we have a mantra. The mantra coming from the President of the United States, President Trump, is drill, baby, drill. Now, that was started a long time ago by another former Republican candidate, but really has become the walking stick for energy in the United States today. President Trump is telling the oil and gas industry we should go drill, baby, drill, produce more oil and gas, and get cheaper oil and gas for the American consumer. Unfortunately, that'd be like asking any one of the major tech companies, sell your assets for 30 to 50% cheaper than you did last year, but sell a lot more of it. It'd be like telling General Motors to make 2 or 3 times as many cars and selling them for half price. See, the oil and gas industry is a very risky business. The oil and gas business requires hundreds of billions of dollars of capital invested years in advance to simply get out that barrel of oil or that molecule of gas for the American consumer. What I want to tell you is drill, baby, drill is not going to work. Drill, baby, drill does not resonate with oil and gas companies today. We tried that in 2008. We tried it in 2010. We tried it again in 2015. We tried it again in 2020 to 25. And what we got for that was a continuation of a deterioration of support, policy, and economics. We as an industry have decided about 4 years ago we weren't going to get capital. We weren't going to see private equity. We weren't going to get any federal help. Even though President Trump is going to give us a lot of expedited regulations, deregulations, and policies to help us move our oil, maybe tax benefits to drill more wells, at the very same time he's saying, but I want you to do all that at about 20 to 40% cheaper price. See, in our business, it's like being a cattle rancher. We have a bunch of cows. We have a bull. We know which one are our prize cows. They're our most valuable assets. And we're saying we're not going to go and sell our most prized bull or our prize cows or our prize calves. We're not going to go sell those at half price because that's all we have. Oil and gas comes from a very finite resource. They're buried geological basins in very specific places that have a certain amount of very difficult and technology-driven ways and means of getting that oil and gas to the surface. It's expensive. It takes a lot of capital. It takes a lot of lead time. Drill, baby, drill sounds like a great political presentation. It sounds like a great thing to tell the American people. In fact, I voted for President Trump. I like President Trump. I think what he's doing is unbelievably good for the country. But as an oil and gas professional for 40 years, what I can tell you is I'm going to manage my assets, the assets of our investors, to the best of my benefit, which means we will drill according to the economic scenario. Today, we have a problem. The problem is we consume about 21 million barrels a day of oil and gas in this country. We only produce about 13.5 million barrels a day. We export about 4.5 to 5 million barrels of that 13.5 million barrels a day because we don't have the refineries that are retrofitted to be able to extract and refine and process super high gravity, very high quality oil coming out of these shale plays. So it doesn't make any sense. We're making 13.5 million barrels. We have to send 5 million barrels abroad, and yet we're going to bring in and import oil from Saudi Arabia, OPEC, Russia, and other countries with oil that's significantly less quality, more pollutant to the atmosphere, harder to refine, and really makes no economic sense. But our president today is asking the oil and gas industry, take one on the chin. Go ahead and drill your very best tier 1 assets. Go ahead and drill your very best locations. Put those wells online and go sell your oil for $55 or $65 a barrel. What my gut tells me in my conversation with various experts in the industry is that if we see oil prices drop below $65 a barrel, you'll start to see oil companies begin to lay their drilling rigs down. They'll start to pull back their capital deployment. They'll begin to skinny up their operation in the field. They'll move those rigs to very good locations that are very simple to drill. They don't have any secondary costs like pipelines and roads and infrastructure, and they will drill just enough to maintain their financial balance sheet and replace the reserves that are being depleted. Drill, baby, drill is probably going to be more like survive, baby, survive. Because at the end of the day, the oil and gas industry really does much, much better under a Democratic White House. The consumers don't. The American public doesn't. But quite frankly, the oil and gas industry does much better when there's a Democrat in office. Now, how do we manage that? How do we as investors manage the current scenario, which is we got great support, we have deregulation taking place, all the obstacles that we had preventing us from building pipelines and infrastructure and permits and regulations. But how do we take all that advantage and do it at suppressed prices? Well, there's going to be a tipping point. And that tipping point is probably going to be a price, not known today, that's going to say, here's a price in which we'll stop drilling and begin to radically reduce our drilling activity. Here's a price we can survive on. And here's a price that we think is fair to the American public and also to our shareholders and our investors. I don't know what that price is today, but I'm guessing somewhere around $65 to $70 a barrel is that happy medium. Not happy for the consumer, not happy for the oil company, but let me tell you, it will be happy for President Trump. See, with his plan to grow the economy, to bring all of our manufacturing back home, to bring all of our business back home, to allow the consumers to continue to use American product and to put tariffs on other countries to make our product more fungible, more desirable, more economic, that's going to require a great deal more oil and gas. Demand is going to go up. With that demand is going to be rising inflation. Oil prices go up with inflation. It's very difficult for somebody who's been in the business for 40 years, who's got a background in economics and finance to understand how do you plan on growing the economy, increasing demand for fossil fuel, but yet you put pressure on outside producers like Russia and Saudi Arabia, say, you must produce more to help me, the President of the United States, reduce prices in the U.S., and yet I want my oil and gas companies to go drill more wells to allow us to have a better trade imbalance, to be more secure and safe by having energy independence. You can't have it all. Now, I'm not as smart as his cabinet. I'm not as smart as his economic advisors. I really don't know all the tools in his war chest. What I know as an independent producer with my own exploration company, mineral company, and thousands of investors that rely on me to figure out which direction we're going and how we're going to get there, I can tell you one thing. Below $65 a barrel gets very precarious. Below $60 a barrel means you might want to pause and take a step back. The oil industry is resilient. We're smart. We're very much survivors. We've survived everything they've thrown at us the last 10 to 20 years. But at the end of the day, we're also not dumb. We're not going to go ahead and drill our best prospects, our best reserves at subdued prices, because there is no more of it. What we have in terms of reserves, well sites, drilling opportunity are finite. I'm not going to play my best hand of cards down when I have all my money on the table and a pair of twos is all I have in my hand. If I have my best hand on the table, that means I've got great prospect with great prices and a rising demand. We don't have that today, and I don't see that in the short term. So as the chairman of the board of Eckard Enterprises, the guy that's working with my senior management team deciding wells we drill, locations we go for, the economics, the financial model, we're putting in the back of our notation what we call the Trump factor. And the Trump factor is, what if his goal is to get oil below $60 a barrel? What does that do to our current assets? What does it look like in terms of cash flow? What do we do with a drill, baby, drill mantra that really says, survive, baby, survive? Well, let me tell you, we've been through a lot more than just $5 or $10 drop in the price of oil. We've been through a lot more than just a single presidential term that tries to alter the fair market trade of oil and gas by manipulating that, both from the Democrats trying to manipulate it so that way fossil fuels look unaffordable, to a president who says, hey, I want to grow the economy at the oil and gas industry's expense. We're not dumb. We know who to support. We know what we're doing. We know where our money's going to go. But we're also resilient, and that resilience means today, drill, baby, drill will not work. Drill, baby, drill means minimize, maximize returns, maximize effort, be efficient, minimize exposure, just produce enough to generate the revenue you want to generate, but hold back your reserves, hold back your drilling, and preserve all those millions of barrels of oil, billions of cubic feet of gas for a later day. Look, I'm not the smartest guy in oil and gas. I believe after 40 years, I kind of understand the way it works. I definitely understand the value of a dollar. I know the economics. I know the stress points. All I can tell you is that when I listen to the other industry experts that I talk to, we're all generally the same mindset. We will drill, baby, drill at our own pace, at our own price, with our own throttle. And we will give the American people every drop of oil we can give them if it makes economic sense to us. I'm Troy W. Eckard. That's my comments on Drill, Baby, Drill. I'm from Allen, Texas. I want to appreciate your time for listening to me.